Gather Together in My Name, published in 1974, is the second installment in Maya Angelou's 7-part autobiographical series. It picks up the narrative shortly after the events of her more famous work, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. While it continues to explore some recurring themes, such as Maya's sense of isolation, it didn't receive the same level of critical acclaim as its predecessor. The story begins in the post-World War II years, with a 16-year-old Maya, also known as Rita or Marguerite, who has just become a young, unwed mother. She lives with her mother and stepfather in San Francisco, where there's a sense of optimism in the Black community, believing that the victory in the war and the defense of the United States might lead to a decrease in racism. However, this optimism is short-lived as the harsh reality sets in. In the face of disappointment, Maya must figure out how to provide for herself and her son. Throughout the book, Maya goes through a series of jobs and relationships in her pursuit of stability and a husband. Each romantic relationship proves as disheartening as the last, with men taking advantage of her vulnerability. Still, she clings to the hope of finding her Prince Charming. At one point, Maya works as a manager for 2 lesbian prostitutes, putting her at risk of arrest and losing custody of her son. She eventually flees to her grandmother's house in Arkansas, though they have differing views on racial issues, and her grandmother even physically punishes her after Maya confronts 2 white women at a department store. Maya and her son later return to San Francisco. Maya's attempt to enlist in the army is thwarted due to her past involvement with the California Labor School during her teenage years. She briefly enjoys a career as a professional dancer, taught by her lover, R.L. Poole, until he returns to his former partner, leaving Maya heartbroken. She then falls in love with a gambler, L.D. Tolbrook, who manipulates her into prostitution. When her mother becomes hospitalized and her sister-in-law passes away, she moves back in with her mother, leaving her son in the care of a woman named Big Mary. When she returns for her son, both Big Mary and her son have disappeared. Desperate, she confronts Tolbrook, realizing his exploitation of her and eventually finding her son in Bakersfield. By the end of the book, Maya is left feeling defeated, exhausted, and unprepared for whatever challenges life throws at her next. A crucial turning point occurs when Maya encounters a drug addict who recognizes her despair and shows her the devastating effects of addiction. This interaction inspires Maya to rebuild her life, not just for herself, but for her now 3-year-old son. The book continues to explore themes introduced in I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, including the theme of motherhood, as Maya grapples with the challenges of being a teenage mother. Her relationship with her own mother, though strained from a rocky childhood, becomes increasingly important for emotional support. As in all her autobiographies, Gather Together in My Name delves into Maya's evolving identity as a Black woman in the United States, set against the historical backdrop of the post-World War II era, including the pervasive racism of the time. Her encounters with racism are just one aspect of her broader exploration of identity. This book portrays Maya's descent into poverty and crime as a single mother, her struggle against isolation, and the limited opportunities available to her. By the age of 19, she has experienced more adversity than many people do in a lifetime. However, her determination and ability to learn from her mistakes solidify her identity as a hardworking Black woman, a devoted mother, and a writer. Critics generally acknowledge that Gather Together in My Name is better written than its predecessor. However, they often cite its lack of narrative focus compared to I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, which primarily centers on the traumatic incident of Maya's rape at the age of 8. This book is episodic and disjointed in comparison, covering various topics without the same narrative cohesion. It also takes place in more locations, leading some critics to label it as a travel narrative. Additionally, critics seem to find Maya's decisions in this and subsequent books to require more explanation, and they may not accept her honesty at face value to the same extent as they did in her first book. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.